Kia ora, good evening. People eligible for free flu vaccination are urged to get one before the 31st of July when the annual immunisation program ends. The number of cases of flu being reported by GPs and hospitals has already started to climb, and this trend is expected to continue. Over 1.18 million New Zealanders have so far been vaccinated against influenza this year, either by taking up the government's offer of a free vaccine for eligible groups, getting vaccinated at their workplace, or paying for it themselves. The influenza vaccine is funded for those who are over 65 years old or pregnant, regularly use an asthma preventer, have diabetes, heart disease, kidney problems, cancer or another serious medical condition, or are aged 5 years and have been hospitalised for a respiratory illness or have a history of significant respiratory illness. Invercargill Mayor Tim Shadbolt says the recent council delegation to Invercargill's Chinese sister city Southland was in no way a junket and went a long way to cementing relations between the two cities. This was the first visit by a council delegation to Southland since the sister city agreement was confirmed late last year. Mr Shadbolt says there is economic potential in the relationship, but maybe not through the sale of traditional Southland products. I asked him to elaborate.
In the West, and in New Zealand in particular, we have intellectual freedom. We have the ability to create and be creative. And I think we will end up in a position where we design a lot of products and they actually manufacture them, because it's economies of scale. If you're producing 10 million digits compared with, say, Invercargill producing 1,000 digits, you can never compete. So I think we're looking at the newer areas: tourism, education and intellectual development.
Where to now, though? Will there be a return visit from them? Is that protocol, or is it moving forward with that economic aspect?
Well, there'll be a whole range of steps to cement the relationship. They're very keen. They're quite dynamic as a society. They want their children to be educated in the West, and I think a lot of the momentum will actually come from them on this occasion, and I can see a friendship growing there in a wide range of areas, in little symbolic ways, like they're going to have a New Zealand garden, we're going to have a Chinese garden, just small exchanges. We'll have one of our staff go and work over there for a year, they'll have one of their staff come and work here for a year, and just trying to understand each other and how we operate at a local government level.
As you know, there's always critics of these sorts of trips overseas who write them off as junkets. You wouldn't say this is a junket?
Definitely not. I think if the world is going to progress, then we have to see friendship developing, not just between the countries and heads of state, but between the communities, the schools, the sports areas, and that has a lot of meaning to them. It means more than money in a way. They're a very wealthy country, they're our biggest trading partner. Those sorts of links are obvious and I'm sure will continue to grow, but it's really, from my point of view, developing a sincere and honest and open friendship with Southland, and we've certainly taken a big bold step in that direction.
KidZone is celebrating a decade and there's no shortage of interest, with most tickets to the Kids Holiday Spectacular now sold. Festival Director Laura Russell says the fun is non-stop and so far the weather has played its part.
Day 2, we're into it and sold out yet again, and heaps of volunteers. The place is just humming.
What do you think makes KidZone so special?
There's so many things that make KidZone special. We're really lucky to have all the funders' support that we get. We couldn't do it without them. Otherwise, tickets would be $31 as opposed to $14, and that really changes things for families. But also the range of activities, and it's so unique to Southland.
And lots of volunteers as well. It's invaluable.
Yeah, heaps of volunteers. I really don't know how this would work anywhere else. We're so lucky that the community supports us the way they do. We've had over 300 volunteers register this year. So the majority are high school students, but we've also had a really strong interest from adults looking to volunteer on the weekends this year, which is really neat.
And this is a few years into it, isn't it? So you're getting people coming back year after year.
Yeah, 10 years this year, which is huge. So, a lot of our volunteers, they have to be 14, so as soon as they're hitting 14, they know the festival, they know it inside out, they've grown up with it, they've come to it with their families, so now as soon as they turn 14, they're just so eager to get in here and help out.
Is there any activity or event that's getting more attention, or everything pretty evenly interested?
Yeah, because there's something for all ages and all interests. It's a really nice spread this year. People are all over the show. The cake room has been really popular though. We've got because it's a birthday, you know, so we needed to have cake somehow. So we've called it the Cake Lab, and you go along and you make cake pops. So you decorate them yourself, make them, take them away to eat. But you can also go in the draw to win a cake too. So I think that might be why it's quite popular.
And your favourite?
My favourite's always Tiny Town. It is one of the cutest places, and you take people to see it. You try and explain it, and they can't grasp it till you see it. But the kids just have so much fun, and to see them have the opportunity to let their imaginations run wild, it's cool.
And it looks like it's pretty much sold out.
Yeah, basically, I was told Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was sold out as the last figures I had. Saturday had 10 tickets left this morning, so I'd say they'll be gone before the end of today, and then we'll have Sunday, Monday left to go.
Stay with us after the break. Flash mobbing, brass band style. Welcome back to South Today News. Those lunchtime shoppers unaware the ILT National Brass Band Champs are on in the city this week had that situation corrected as the Nelson Brass Academy Band flash mobbed S Street.
The formal competition is fantastic and the kids love it, but it is exactly that. It's a formal competition, and you know, it's not a place for joking around and mucking about. Whereas to come and do it on the street completely, I mean, it is rehearsed of course, but impromptu and spontaneous is a fantastic experience for everybody actually. You know, really great fun.
And how is the band comp going so far? It's early days, but how are things going?
It is early days, yeah. Our main competition is at the weekend, but we've had quite a few soloists come and do a few things so far. No winners yet. I think we've got a third so far, but no, it's going great, thanks. Yeah.
And great interest in Nelson and being part of the
hugely.
brass band.
Yeah, and of course Nelson's a tiny city, and we bat significantly punch above our weight, you know, because we're only a little town, and it's quite a big effort for the place to put on, you know, a significant grade band. Yeah.
Great for the band to put it out on the street like this, though, isn't it? And very well received.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, it was lovely to actually see so many people. We were out here about 8:30, and of course it was deserted, and we're thinking, crikey, it might be a bit of a small audience, but in fact it stopped the traffic and everything, and there's quite a few people around. Yeah, no, we're really chuffed.
Weather dependent, people will be able to see them march tomorrow, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got two. We've got the main senior band marching, and then we've also got the band we saw today, the Academy Band, marching as well.
The Glengarry shopping precinct is in a transition phase with much work being undertaken in the last 4 years to address 2 decades of decline. Another step in the precinct's rejuvenation was passed this week with the unveiling of a new community mosaic. I asked City Councillor Rebecca Mumson about the latest piece of art and the ongoing development of the area.
Well, it came from the lady who's in charge of the community art project here in Glengarry, Caroline, and one of the things that she decided was that we needed to bring more art into the community, and one of the ways she decided to do that was through mosaics. So this bird mosaic is the third of the panels to go up. We've got 2 other ones made up of flowers, and those were all flowers drawn by people in the community, and then the team at the art project made those flowers into mosaic pieces.
Glengarry really has come a long way, hasn't it? I'm thinking sort of 17 years back when I first saw Glengarry. Let's go through those changes over the last 3-4 years.
Yep. Well, we started doing the sort of rejuvenation stuff in 2011. Kind of kicked off with the beginning of the community market, which we have here on the last Saturday of every month, and that's still going. So we're in our 4th year of the market, which is pretty exciting. And then just lots of people really got on board and decided that, you know, this is a really great place to live and work, and wanted to support that and encourage the things that we were doing.
The people are key, aren't they? Once you've got that buy-in, the community seems to take off.
That's exactly right, yeah. And we work pretty hard to try and build relationships with lots of different organisations and people in the community. So the church already does a fantastic job. They have great activities and services that they provide for a large part of the community, which is fantastic. and we're just trying to build on that.
And the beautification that's gone out on the south side as well, that's great too, isn't it? Council have had a bit of input there.
That's right. So the council-owned car park on Yarrow Street is one of our pet projects. It was identified really early on as something that really needed to be improved because it had been left to its own devices for quite some time. So we've worked pretty hard there. Just recently the bus shelter that was there has been removed, and we've got plans for sort of a stage board game kind of area there, which was pretty exciting. And we're also looking at doing another project around here on the north side of the shopping centre too.
With 4 families working through the application process for a house, no time of the year can be considered downtime for Habitat for Humanity Invercargill. Habitat's Invercargill Chair Stephen Falconer says the organisation does not slow down when one building project ends. He says the organisation is always looking out for volunteers and donations to its restore.
We've got no houses underway at the moment. We finished our 16th house in December last year. We dedicated it to a family, so we're very proud of that. We have 4 families currently working through our application process. So in due course, our family selection committee will make some recommendations to the board about who our next family will be.
And so that house, you mentioned the 16th, that was actually, had been built by Humanity previously?
Yes, we love recycling, part of our restore philosophy. So that house had been built over 10 years ago, and a partner family had brought that house from us and now had some better opportunities elsewhere, wanted to sell up and move on, and so we were able to help make that happen and get a good house in the bargain for our next family.
Stephen, I guess you're reliant on donations. People can, we've just been here a couple of minutes and already there's been a lot of people coming in and out of the store. There's a lot of activity here. How can people help?
Right, there's 3 things I say I'm happy to take from people. We'll take your money straight up, but if you haven't got that, we'll take your used goods. We have a collection service, so if you have a bunch of stuff, you can ring up and we can send round a van to pick those up. We try to make it as easy as possible, and those donations are the lifeblood of this business. And obviously the more donations we have, the more stuff we can sell, the more money we raise, the more families we can help.
Even things like keeping the store warm, it's not, diesel isn't cheap, is it?
No, I cringe every time we get the bill to fill that tank up, but it's a necessary evil at times. You have to spend money to make it occasionally. So, yeah.
People can, you mentioned volunteer their time. That is all important for organisations like Habitat, isn't it?
Yes.
That is that workforce ready to go?
We do always need more volunteers, so we also take your time as the third aspect, your money, your goods and your time. Now time, there's a lot of ways people can help with that. We actually have volunteers in the restore itself, so they work for nothing for us, so we really appreciate the people that give their time like that, because that saves wages obviously that we don't need to spend. We have volunteers in our build site, and again that keeps costs down there. We have a lot of volunteers in our admin, both on the board like myself and in the various committees that we need to run to keep an organisation like this flowing. And all these things take a lot of time, and so we're very thankful for all the people that do give their time. We're always looking for more people to do so. They can come to the restore and they'll be able to get contact details if they're interested in helping out in that way.
How satisfying is it at the end of the day to put a family into a house?
Oh, it's fantastic. When we did our last dedication in December, you have the tears of the family that have got a home that they never thought they'd ever actually be able to achieve. So that's just, it's real rewarding, but also long term, not only putting the family in, but you see the fruits that the family's really succeeding in life after that. In particular, the kids we find do really well at school once they're in that settled home environment. So we find that home ownership process is just transformative for the families involved. So yeah, we get very excited to see those wins.
That's all from us tonight. Sport is up next. Don't forget all the brass bands will be marching along Calvin Street at 1 p.m. tomorrow. From all of us on the news team, have a great evening.